where you stand on the coin validate issue, but it's a pivotal fight that has the potential to destroy Bitcoin's network effect, or give it the mainstream legitimacy it needs to propel cryptocurrency into global use. I have friends in both camps, and they all speak with equal and opposite passion. It's entrepreneurs versus idealists all over again, except there's a splinter group within the idealist camp who find their short-term goals lining up with entrepreneurs, but with the aim of achieving a very different long-term effect. To quickly go over the issue, as Andreas likes to remind us as often as possible, the most important part of Bitcoin is that it's a neutral protocol. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it treats you the same, and every Bitcoin is interchangeable for any Bitcoin or combination of fractions of many Bitcoins. It makes no difference. Enter CoinValidate, the obviously what is needed effort of Matthew Mellon, a scion of the famed banking dynasty. After spending the last few weeks making the rounds in San Francisco and New York, talking to the names and players in the Bitcoin space, he joined with Alex Waters, the now apparently defunct BitInstant CTO. The polarizing leader of the Avalon ASIC project, Yifu Gao, completes the announced executive team. Yifu has been developing a tool for miners to run that basically lets them only accept transactions from addresses on an approved list. This is a crucial piece of infrastructure to make a program like CoinValidate work. To make the system work, they would need to convince miners and large pools to use this mining filter and simply not process transactions that are not on the approved list. This approved list would be controlled centrally by CoinValidate, acting as a trusted keeper. Their role is to associate Bitcoin addresses and legal identities. When two whitelisted addresses do business, their presence on the whitelist means CoinValidate essentially vouches that they have an identity. It remains to be seen if disclosing your identity in all business will be required, or if that information is kept private, but in practice they're the same. A central list of Bitcoin addresses and identities exist, accessible to government and hackers, and the seeds of a mostly mapped Bitcoin network, where the promise of a transparent transaction ledger means your privacy is only as good as the keeper of the list is willing or able to deliver. The thinking goes, Bitcoin is a marvelous innovation. It makes the transmission of money cheap and easy compared to any system we have. But it has a flaw that could be fatal. In Western monetary systems, there are controls in place to make sure that certain types of individuals, terrorists and criminals, don't benefit from modern financial infrastructure. Which in practical terms means there are transaction limits, suspicious activity reports for every banking customer who deviates from their normal and acceptable use pattern. This infrastructure relies on it being impractical to deal with legacy currencies like dollars in a peer-to-peer fashion. After all, how many people would shop on the internet if the process for paying for it was to put your cash in a stamped envelope and mail it directly to the merchant? In the days of Sears catalogs, this may have been normal, but now it's not safe. That, and we lack the patience. Bitcoin, with its online P2P nature, has no reason to do any of these things. Christianity's 10 Commandments, chiseled on many stone monuments around the world, has as much power over its adherents as Bitcoin's blockchain. They can't force you to follow the rules, but only those who do follow the rules can call themselves participants of the system. So with that as background, the sides line up like this. Idealists look at the CoinValidate proposal and say, this is terrible. Even if you only get less than 10% participation, once the foundation is in place, it'll be easy for national governments to simply declare it illegal to make transactions with addresses not on the whitelist. Which means that anything not on the whitelist is de facto on the blacklist. Entrepreneurs say, are you crazy? There'll just be two systems, a whitelisted part where all identities are approved and transactions logged for tax purposes, and a non-whitelisted part that's like the current state of affairs. A bit of Wild West, lots of fraud, people happy to not pay their taxes, and no consumer confidence to be found because of those things. The slippery slope argument is tempting. In reality, I don't know who here is right, and even if it's worth talking about. These divisions in the community enamored with Bitcoin are not surprising, and in fact, it's a little odd relations have been so cordial to this point. Bitcoin is neutral. It's different things to different people, and yet Bitcoin never changes, so this value is found in each individual who learns. I did want to mention the third group I've noticed in this conflict. There's a strain of idealists who view CoinValidate as a good thing and desired thing, because they think it'll make Bitcoin fail. Not fail as in crash in value, mass wiping of wallets, GPUs and ASICs lying dead in the street, dedicated water cooling systems spasming viscous liquids into darkened storm drains, but the understanding by users of cryptocurrency that Bitcoin has been compromised, and it's time to abandon ship. In any free market, but cryptocurrency specifically, events in one part of the ecosystem inform the development of others. People going the way of blacklists would catalyze the equal and opposite reaction. We're already starting to see it in the announcement of the much lighter weight Zerocoin chain, not waiting for Bitcoin implementation at all, just going for it as an altcoin that will allow for on-blockchain coin mixing, which makes this sort of tracking impossible. Luke Dash Jr. has led the charge from a different angle, releasing a piece of software to counter that released by Yifu. Where CoinValidate's contribution would only process transactions from addresses on the approved list, Luke's release does the opposite. It forbids miners from processing transactions to addresses that have already received a transaction. Simply put, Luke's change would mandate that every transaction made through the Bitcoin network use a new receiving address, which makes tracking funds exponentially more difficult, and anything resembling a whitelist, which relies on repeated use of the same approved addresses, flatly impossible. I don't know where you sit on CoinValidate, and I'm not really sure where I sit either. I take comfort, though, in knowing that controversial proposals like this, even when done by private companies, have a tangible and immediate reaction from the passionate community building the future of money. And I look forward to what comes next.
Hi, this is Jason King, founder at Sean's Outpost, and you are listening to Let's Talk Bitcoin. Sean's Outpost is a homeless outreach in Pensacola, Florida, and we are proudly powered by Bitcoin. To date, over 13,000 meals have been fed to the homeless in our area, all purchased with Bitcoin and through the generosity of the cryptocurrency community. Read more about us at seansoutpost.com. Food, shelter, Bitcoin, everybody. Sean'sOutpost.com.